Hi, I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel, and today we're going to be installing DieselSite's new billet water pump for the 6.0s. So DieselSite has come out with a new billet water pump for the 6.0s. Now we all know that one of the failure points in the 6.0s is the breaking of the fins on the impeller, the plastic fins on the impeller of the water pump. So the OE Ford water pump has plastic fins on it. They break, and when they break, this causes lack of flow, causes cavitation in the front cover. That cavitation thereby eats away at the front cover. So there's a lot of things that go on into the different failures in this that are just not good. We all know that obviously the cooling properties of a 6.0 are a very major part of just keeping the engine alive and keeping it healthy. So your water pump is one of the core components of that. You have to have a good functioning water pump. DieselSite realized the need for this and realized the failure point that the plastic impeller water pump was. So they came out with a billet version of this. Now, what they did to just make this the best mousetrap that it can be, or the best product that it can be, is they just used the regular OE water pump right out of the box, took the plastic impeller off, put the billet impeller on it, and you've got the product you want. You've got the quality OE housing, you've got the quality OE bearings, you've got the quality OE seal with the improvement in the aftermarket of the billet impeller. So this is perfect. We have a video that we've already done an unboxing on this, and we talk about it. I didn't realize that was flashing at the camera that way. So we'll link you inside of this video to where you can watch our unboxing of this DieselSite video. So this is for the 04.5 to 07s. We have an 06 in the shop right now with the cab up on it. I'm going to show you how to install this with the cab up. Obviously, it's not going to be this easy for you guys doing it in your driveway, but we think that it gives you a different perspective on the installation, so you have a little bit clearer look at some of this stuff instead of everything jammed with the cab on the truck. So a little bit different way to attack an installation video, but we hope it helps you in your project. So let's get started. All right, so to begin installation on a 6.0 water pump, obviously you don't have to take the cab off of your 6.0, but it's pretty much easier to work on everything on a 6.0 with a cab off of it. But you know, the couple of plastic shrouds that we're going to be working with first here when we're going for the fan drive can get a little bit tricky. So if you've watched any other videos, hopefully this one will give you a different look at this with the cab up on it, so you can kind of see what's going on here. So I'm going to give you kind of an overview of what I'm going to do in the next 2 or 3 steps here. First, I'm going to show you taking this shroud off, if the cab was on it, which it's not this is cheating the way it is, but you'll be able to see it. But the back plastic piece that is behind the fan here, there are 4 bolts that hold this on, and this black plastic piece has to be loosened so you can move it forward. When you move that plastic piece forward, that's going to give you clear access to the fan drive, to the nut on the fan drive, to be able to remove the fan, and then you bring that whole assembly off in one shot, lift it out. Now, there are special tools for this. We're going to show you today using this with just a normal air hammer setup for the fan drive bolt. So hopefully that's something that you have at home. If you would like the special tools, we offer those to take the fan off on the 6.0 trucks. They're Alliant Power Parts, and they're listed on our website, and possibly Jim can tag you to those inside of there. But if you have an air hammer at the house, then you can do the job. So let's start talking about this. So this fan shroud, cab on fan shroud, this fan shroud comes out by taking the 2 brackets off of the radiator, hold down, removing those brackets. Then that lets you pull the radiator back, and then that frees this up. Then at that time, this fan shroud just sneaks up and past everything and out. Okay. So then that gives us a little bit better shot on this. Now, if you guys haven't had a cab up before and you look on these model trucks, it's marked on here. It says Pilot. I'm gonna grab one of your lights here, Adam, show them there. It shows you this is the Pilot side. So when you put this back on and you hang this, you want to start on this side and get it on that standard, and then just work to line everything up. So your bolts there are 2 here. They're screwed into the intake manifold, or they're bolted to the intake manifold. And then you have 2 here at the bottom. Now you can see your 2 at the bottom. This one is more towards the driver's side, and then this one is more towards our passenger side here back there. These are all 15 metrics. But the bottom two are where it gets tricky. A lot of technicians that do this job, they wind up breaking this. These trucks are older, so it's not really a dog on the transmission or the technicians to say this, but there are standards behind these, and a 22 metric open end is what I like to use. I like to have that on there and holding those when I release those, when I loosen those two bolts. If not, it spins, it breaks the shroud, and the shroud never doesn't hang, you know, correctly again. So try to avoid that if you can, and it's going to just keep your truck cleaned up and doesn't look like, you know, some knuckle dragger's been working on it or whatnot. So we're going to start on our two top bolts, and what you want to do on your two tops here is you're going to disconnect the electric drive on the fan, and nothing crazy about that. Just go ahead and disconnect it, and then we'll go ahead and get our top two bolts out. And you want to be easy with this, of course, because if they're stuck to the cover, you can have those possibly break out on you, but we're going to hope that that doesn't happen to you. So we're going to go ahead and remove these two bolts, and then we'll get it set up and show you removing the bottom two. In fact, what I like to do there is I'm going to, after I've got this one on the passenger side, I like to leave that there, and I like to leave that top bolt in, and then get all of my other bolts out, and then take that one out last. All right, so getting to our bottom two bolts here, we were talking about 22 metric open-ended. You can get to this from the bottom. I had my plan of attack on how I was going to go about this. So you can see these from the bottom, and Adam's going to do his best to get the camera on this where you can see it. So there we have the wrench on that, and then you want to do that. You don't want to just go in here and just grab these with a ratchet and start turning them on them, because again, he will break this plastic out. So okay, and then you can see that keeps that, keeps that centered, or keeps it tight to where you can reach in there and get your bolt out. So you actually, once you have access to it, there's the bolt out. Once you've got that wrench on it from the bottom, you can set that to where it, where it can't move, and then go back up top and get the bolt out. So we're gonna do the other side real quick, and then we'll show moving this back. All right, so with all four bolts out of this fan shroud loose, what we've done here is we can pull this straight forward, and I'm going to show you on the Pilot where that lines up. I'm going to show you that once it comes out, but now this gives us full access to be able to get to the fan drive nut. Now I'm going to show you what we use here. You can see that this pulley has these ovals in it in different spots. That's how the special tool actually holds this fan drive. It's got two ears on it that go in there, and you can hold it while you take the fan drive off. So we're going to use that and get to that with an air hammer and buzz this off here. All right, so I'm going to show you what we're going to use to pull the fan drive off. So again, we've got the plastic shroud, we've got it pulled up, so that kind of gives us access over here on the passenger side of the engine to get in here to get to the fan drive nut. So I want to show you this little tool. This is just a fan drive clutch kit that we've got here. It's got several different size wrenches in it. This is 1 7/8 that I'm going to use here. And then if you have air hammer, this tool that goes in your air hammer, and what this is that hooks into that wrench, and then obviously you're putting pressure on it to loosen it up. So this usually works. If you don't have access to this, I think you can rent one of these from like an AutoZone or something like that. If you don't have access to it, what you can do is you can get a long air chisel. And with the long air chisel, and I'm going to show you from Adam's perspective here on his side, but you can get a long air chisel, and you can just hit the air chisel on that nut, and then that will spin that off. So you know, with the serpentine belt on, you're gonna try to do this job, get to this before you take that serpentine belt off, which is, you have to anyway. So let's see if we can get it off. And this is right hand threaded, so right to tighten, left to loosen. So we're gonna put our socket there. This aggravating gun's got a leak in it, so you'll have to excuse us for a second here. There it goes. Hook that aggravating gun. I need to fix that leak. So that's got that loosened up right there, as you can see. So at this point, what you'll do is you can spin the fan drive off, hold it up on the front like this, and you can spin this fan drive off. Now, before I take this all off, I want to show you there's one more clip down here that is on the lower radiator hose. So you are going to want to disengage that. And of course I jumped in here without my little knife, so we're going to cut for just a second, then we'll be right back. All right, should have told you about this while you were still underneath the truck working on your bottom 2 bolts. But on this hose clip, that is you don't take it off from here, you actually just pop it off from the fan shroud here. So just get your pop rivet tool or whatever you want to call it, and twist that out, so that'll have that to where the shroud and the fan can come up all in one assembly. Now we'll spin it on out. Watch your wiring harness. Okay, and once this is out and free, you just lift it straight on out. We're going to go ahead and pull the serpentine belt off and show you about this. And before you really get started here, if you're using hand tools on this, what I suggest to do is go through and loosen up before you take the tension off of the belt. Loosen up the 4 bolts on the pulley. Don't remove them, just loosen them. That's all you got to do. All right, so let's release the tension on the belt. So 1/2-inch drive ratchet, long handled one, or a serpentine belt tool, however you want to do this. And then you're pushing down on it, so you have your ratchet turned to the on position, and then you're just pushing down. Okay, there is a little metal clip right here. This metal clip, once you get this far enough down, it'll fall into this orifice, and then it'll hold tension on the belt for you. So you've got to, sorry, didn't have my thing in there good enough. You push that down, and then that holds the tensioner for you, so you can do whatever you want to do with the belt. I suggest taking it off. I know it's kind of a pain, but you're here, you might as well take it off. Keeps you from getting coolant on it and having a squeaky belt and all the things here. So I'm gonna just take it off of this siding here and just kind of lay it up here out of the way, which that works just fine too. So we took our 4 bolts out of our pulley and added left my ratchet down here at the bottom. So, hey, I'm gonna get it. All 4 of these bolts are the same. On this pulley, you can see those. I was talking about this a second ago. You can kind of see, or you can see, these ovals on the pulley all the way around. This is what the special tool that holds the pulley, if you decide to purchase it. If you work on these a bunch, might be something good for you to have in case you have one of your fan drives that's just giving you more trouble than it should. This gives you full access to the water pump. At this time, we're going to go after the 4 10 metric bolts that hold it to the case. Now, we haven't checked this out. We don't know what we're up against here. You know, we might take this pump out and not have a fin on it. If we do, then, you know, there we are. So just take a hammer, the soft end of the hammer, and then straight up over here by the water neck and just get it dislodged. And you can go ahead and remove your bolts. Moved it enough that it's tight. So with the bolts in it, I hope they got that dislodged enough. You're here, I guess I haven't talked about it because the cab's up. Obviously you want to drain your coolant out of the radiator. There is a petcock on the radiator that you can drain it out and let it drain for several hours. Go in the house, have yourself a nice adult beverage if you're so inclined. Once it's drained out, I like to put a rag down here just to catch a little bit more of the coolant. A little bit more of the coolant, again, keeps you from having squeaky belt and making a mess, all things. So get our pan underneath of there. And this truck's been sitting with the cab off of it for a while, so we shouldn't have much come out of there. All right. So there's your stock style water pump. You see, these are your plastic fins that we're going to get away from them. A lot of times what we didn't have with this one, but you'd have a broken fin inside of here. When you've got the broken fins, again, you'll have cavitation of the water. The cavitation of the water could eat away at the back cover. These back covers are cast, so they're automatically porous when you have cavitation, and that beating inside of that cavity that chips away at this cavity. And when you take away material inside of there, you're also creating another void that can cause cavitation. And it's not the circuit's not going to be able to move the coolant the way it's supposed to. So you want to check this back cover while you've got this off to make sure none of the fins have dug in here, tore it up. This is smooth. We're in pretty good shape. So there you go. So now it is time to install our DieselSite water pump. All right, putting our new DieselSite water pump back on, what we're going to do first is we've got to get our new O-ring that comes in the kit, and I just use a little bit of coolant to lubricate it here. And then put it onto your pump. Make sure not to cut it on these nice new sharp billet blades that you have right here. Prep your surface, of course, to make sure that you're getting a good seal here. Orientation of the pump is with the weep hole up right there, just like that. And then go ahead and line the pump up as best you can. Start one bolt to hang it, and then get the rest of them in there. Then we will crisscross pattern tighten them. The torque on the water pump bolts is 17 foot-pounds. So we're going to, and we want to crisscross that pattern when we're bringing them up there. Very, very important to take this up a little at a time as you're crisscrossing these bolts, because that keeps you from putting undue pressure on the O-ring. You want to make sure you've got a good seal there. So I'm going to alternate between the two there and bring that water pump up. Okay. All right. So 17 foot-pounds again. You want to alternate this, so we're just going to go through and click it off. Aluminum cover. So please take care not to overdo this, but you can check all of your torques, and there you are. So you want to make sure that you don't hear any contact in there. You want that to be good and quiet, all the good things. So then you can put your pulley back on here, 23 foot-pounds on your pulley bolts, and that's your water pump installation. We are not going to fully reinstall this, and the reason for that is we are going after oil cooler. In one of the previous videos, the intake has to come off for that. Well, serpentine belt, alternator, all the things have to come off. So we're gonna leave it right here. This is gonna be one of these videos where we tell you installation is reverse of removal. So, and that's what it is. But 17 foot-pounds on the torque for the bolts holding to the water pump to the cover, 23 foot-pounds on the torque for the bolts holding the pulley to the pump. And this is the installation for the DieselSite Billet water pump. Big shout out to DieselSite for sending us one of these. We are really excited about this product. It comes in at a price point that should be very attractive to you. If you're already buying an OE water pump, you get the better mousetrap for, you get a better mousetrap with the OE bearings, the OE seals, and all the things. So this is definitely the way to go for you guys that are looking to, to get all of the failure prone things in a 6.0 taken care of. So definitely check it out, DieselSite Billet water pump. If you have any questions about this product or any of our other DieselSite products, please give us a call, like and subscribe to our channel, and we appreciate you watching.